games. It's just insane, all the news that's coming out. And it's getting worse and worse and worse for the Dallas Mavericks. So let's recap what's happened the last couple of days. 2 days ago, well, several days before that, they lost in Game 7. They blew a 3-2 lead to the LA Clippers. And then a big, giant expose article comes out that says that Mark Cuban has hired this sports gambling guy who is actually in charge of the franchise and the decisions that they make, and that he's been in charge for like 3 years. His name is Bob Voulgaris, and he's the best NBA gambler of all time, and he has analytics and math systems that make decisions for him, from personnel to rotations to starting lineups. And so they have been giving him more and more say and power within the organization. The very next day, the GM, Donnie Nelson, who has been with them for 24 years, quits, essentially. Well, really, he was fired. And he was fired, we think, because he is the source of that report that was complaining about Bob Voulgaris and all of the power that he has. And so there's no other conclusion other than the fact that Donnie Nelson was behind that report. So he leaks this information, then he gets fired the next day after 24 years. Now today, Rick Carlisle has stepped down with 2 years remaining on his contract. It is a bad, bad sign for the organization that a coach that good with a superstar that good and that young is choosing to step away. Normally, we would say that the Dallas Mavericks have a really good job for any coach who would want to take it, because they've got LUKA. Who wouldn't want LUKA? Superstar, you're going to be deep in the playoffs for years to come. Well, hey, a really good coach actually just left money on the table and chose not to coach LUKA. That is really bad. That's a horrible sign. So the question is LUKA to blame for this? And the reason people are asking that is because of the reports that came out the last couple of weeks that LUKA and Rick Carlisle, the coach, have butted heads at times, and that their relationship is frayed. So is LUKA tough to coach? Is he kind of being a diva here? And to those people who are asking that, I say no. LUKA is not the reason for this. The reason is Mark Cuban. And rather than have some crazy hot take and say that this is a dumpster fire, you know, the Mavericks are turning into a dysfunctional franchise like the Knicks or whatever, I'm not going to have a hot take like that. What I'm going to say is that that Mark Cuban is clearly taking a stand. Mark Cuban is clearly making a direction of this franchise, and that direction is to clean house. He's getting rid of the coach, he's getting rid of the GM, and he's going to get a new coach and a new GM and a new direction for this franchise. So Mark Cuban is doing something pretty radical here. He's changing over everything because so far it hasn't worked. So all I'm going to say about this is Mark Cuban better be making the right decision, because we're going to find out in the next 2, 3, 4 years if this was the right decision to get rid of Donnie Nelson, the GM, and to get rid of Rick Carlisle, the head coach, and to change those things out. A lot will depend on who he hires, right? So there's rumblings that Jamal Mosley, who's a current assistant for the Mavs, will get the head coaching. As far as the GM, I would do everything to attract Masai Ujiri from the Raptors. Masai is a top 2, top 3 front office guy in the NBA. He has been for years. And he does not have a contract with Toronto. And if he wanted one, believe me, he would have signed it, because the Toronto ownership is giving everything he wants, but he still has not signed it. I would go hard after Masai Ujiri. That's what I would do if I was Mark Cuban. I would put as much money as possible in there, and if it meant getting rid of Bob Voulgaris because Masai doesn't want him there, I would do that. But my whole point in saying this is that I'm not going to have some crazy hot take saying this is the wrong thing to do or this is the right thing to do. The fact is, we don't know if this is right or wrong. We're going to find out in like 3 to 4 years. But what we do know is this. Mark Cuban is choosing a direction, and he is going hard at it. I kind of like that, actually. So, hey, Mark better be right. Because if he's wrong, then they will have wasted drafting the next face of the league, potentially, the next superstar, the next best player alive. So this is such a huge gamble for Mark Cuban and the Mavericks because how good LUKA is. LUKA is so good that when you make a giant gamble like this, Nino, you are a mod, buddy. You are already a mod, so sorry about that. When you have a superstar like LUKA, when you make a big, giant, franchise-altering decision like this, it could shape your legacy as an owner, as a team owner. So Mark Cuban's legacy as a team owner was really good, like just 2 years ago, right? Because obviously they had Dirk. They went from Dirk to LUKA. Things were looking great. They've won a championship. You know, Mark Cuban's involved, but at the same time, he knows how to hire well. Rick Carlisle, one of the best coaches in the NBA. You know, Donnie Nelson, respected front office guy. So, yeah, Cuban is involved, but Cuban had a really good reputation, right? Well, Cuban's reputation is now on the line again, which I like. He's putting himself out there by doing this. He really is. So, look, that's just kind of my take on things, that this is a big moment in Mavericks history, huge moment. So I just want to get, Samatar, I'm going to make you a mod. So, guys, I'm going to get to one more take, and then we're going to do some questions. But my last take, guys, is that what is next for Rick Carlisle? And to me now, he is the -- coach out there in terms of, you know, possible candidates who a team could look to hire. And I think that Rick Carlisle's at the top, followed by Chauncey Billups, and then everyone else after them is kind of a toss-up. And, you know, if the Bucks lose this afternoon, and by the time you watch this, they may have lost, I believe Mike Budenholzer will be fired. And I believe that Rick Carlisle should take that job because Giannis is that good. You know, Rick Carlisle is such a good coach. A lot of these adjustments we can all see from our living room that Bud isn't making. Maybe Carlisle makes those tweaks and it maximizes what we all think Giannis can be, which is winning the East, maybe winning a championship. Outside of that, the Boston Celtics are a team that Carlisle knows very well. He used to be a Celtic in the 80s. Rick Carlisle is one of only a handful of coaches to both win a title as a player and as a coach. He won as a player in Boston with Larry Bird and them, and he won as a coach in Dallas. And so does he want to return home to Boston? Maybe. You know, this is a job that isn't open very often. The Celtics job opening is like the Lakers job opening. It is a legacy franchise. It's a glamour franchise. And, you know, maybe Carlisle wants to return. And maybe Carlisle left the Mavericks because he sees, wow, this does not happen very often. I've always wanted to coach the Boston Celtics, and this is my only chance. I'm going to leave LUKA. I'm going to leave 2 years on the table with Dallas. Maybe that's the case. Or maybe he's going to take the Bucks job. But I think those are the only 2 jobs that he should take, probably. All right, guys, so those are kind of my takes about this whole Dallas Mavericks thing. I had to jump on here, just didn't have time to make a full video. So what are you guys thinking right now? Let's just do some questions. And if you want to get a question answered for sure, throw down a super chat, please. Thank you. All right, what coach do you think the Mavericks should go for? You know what? Honestly, I think that this guy, Jamal Mosley, is a guy that is an assistant that LUKA really has a good relationship with. I think guys like nowadays, the head coach, he's less of that kind of, you know, dominating Greg Popovich style head coach. I feel like these days, head coaches are more like a GM, like they delegate. Like nowadays you have an offensive coordinator, you have a defensive coordinator. Like that's why Steve Nash is able to be successful. He has a big staff. So I think that a lot will depend on what the staff is, not just the head coach. So someone was asking about Zion. You know what? I don't have a problem with Zion and his family leaking that he is unhappy in New Orleans. even though he's only been there for like 2 years. It kind of seems pretty diva-ish, right? I don't care. They have made so many stupid decisions, the Pelicans. I mean, Stan Van Gundy, I'm sorry, but right when they hired him, I was like, what? What is this? And then also, he was my worst coach of the year, and we all saw that coming. Why would you trade Drew Holiday for Eric Bledsoe? I know you got a lot of picks back, but who cares about picks in the future? Aren't you trying to be good now? Are you trying to win? Are you trying to put a winner around Zion? If you are, why would you let Drew Holiday go for Eric Bledsoe? And then when you know Zion needs to be in the paint, why would you acquire Steven Adams and then double down on that mistake by re-signing Steven Adams? Like, if I'm Zion and his family, I would also be like, what is this? What are you guys doing? So I don't have a problem when other people are bad at their jobs, their feet are being held to the fire. I like that. I don't care that Zion, you know, he's only 22 years old, and it kind of seems like this is a move a more veteran guy should make, complaining in the media like this. I don't care. They've totally messed up. All right, do you think Rick would be a good fit with the Blazers? I think Rick would be a good fit anywhere, to be honest. All right, since we got no super chats, let's just check out some Hawks 2021 champs. Dude, they could be, and that would be the biggest mistake by me of all time, wouldn't it? What do you think of the Sixers situation? Oh man, let me tell you. Hey Nate Murphy, what up? You're my guy, Nathaniel. Okay, I was wondering what you think of the Sixers situation. Should they trade Simmons? Yes, dude. Yes. Ben Simmons is just, if I were you guys, I'd be so frustrated. He is so afraid of the ball. Isn't Ben Simmons just deathly afraid of the basketball in like the fourth quarter especially? That is a losing player.